Hello and welcome to episode 13 of my Mind, Body, Spirit series. Today I'm talking about the mind. So our mind is a very powerful thing, and we use our minds all the time to make sense of our world. And if you understand, your mind has three different parts, right? So it has the superconscious mind that's up there and is always connected to the source. And it is your reference for source, I hear. And then your conscious mind is the mind that you use throughout your conscious waking day. It thinks it's in control, but actually isn't in control, because most of your actions are determined by your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind, as I've said before, is very powerful. It's stored every memory from every life you've ever had, and it's very good at it. Your conscious mind operates on, the day's events, and then at night when you sleep, it downloads into the subconscious mind that's down here nice and low. So if you've ever met people who have said one thing and done another, it means that their conscious and subconscious minds are not operating in sync. They're like this, or like this, or like not even connected. So how do you connect them? Well, obviously, it may be not obvious to you, but it is to me. You meditate, because it brings them in alignment. So it goes like subconscious mind's down here, conscious mind is like closer to the subconscious mind, and then the superconscious mind can drop in as well. So you'll have those three different layers. If I do with fingers like this, so when you think about it, you think, wow, what a wonderful opportunity to get to know myself. My three different parts of minds become united. They're all three together. And then I can find out who I really am. So this portion is to help you find out who you really are, and to help you find the answers to everything that you seek. So all the answers you ever seek, you ever want, are stored in your mind. So any solutions to any problems or dilemmas that you've had in your life, or have or will have, the answers can be found in the divine by connecting to the divine through meditation. And it says that in Autobiography of a Yogi. So instead of reading the book, just listen to me. I'm just kidding. Read the book, but maybe read it a couple times. But if you are looking for answers and you're looking to someone else to find the answers to your dilemmas or your questions, people always ask me, they ask me a question and they already know what the answer is. They know exactly what they're going to do. So why are they asking me the question? I do channel for people. And when I channel for people, the answer comes from the source. It comes through me, but it's not from me. So generally when people ask me questions, I channel for them. And that is my business. That is what I do. I like to be a normal human being. I like to just talk about stuff and everything, but that channeling always comes through because I've rewired my brain to be connected to the source almost all the time. And it's very difficult for me to disconnect because it is a way of life for me. And if you aspire to be like someone who channels answers from the source, then just meditate and you will find that you will download those answers all the time. It'll become automatic. Who wouldn't want that? Why not find the answers to your own problems, right? So I wanted to give you some examples of how meditating and how connecting to the source and how connecting to your emotions and your heart space can help you. The other day I was in a store and I heard a baby crying. And I could just hear the anguish in this baby. And I was like, oh my goodness, that baby's so distressed. So I walked by the woman that had the baby in her cart and had another older, like a 4-year-old maybe. And I thought, oh, I know that person. So I walked by, and then as I realized, I'm like, oh my goodness, I know who that is. So because she knows me and she knows what I do, I went over and talked to her and I said, oh, your baby's belly is upset. If you don't mind, I'll just like to put my hand on his belly. And so I did, and he calmed down right away. And his tummy was upset because actually his body couldn't handle citric acid. So I said to her, oh, his stomach didn't develop properly. Was he preemie? She said, yeah, he was born 3 weeks early. But I said, well, his stomach didn't develop properly, so it's still trying to develop. But the citric acid from anything that has any fruit that has that it really causes him some upset, and that's why he's crying. So I said, if you take him off that for the next 6 months, it will allow his stomach to develop properly, and then he won't have a problem anymore. So she's pretty cool. Like, she understands what I do, and she knows I can read babies, because when her first baby was born, even before he was born, he was already talking to me, and I told her some things, and she's like, oh yeah, you got that right. So what I wanted to tell you with this, where this story is going, is that I receive messages from source and from the infant, because babies are really cool. They are very telepathic because they haven't developed their language yet, but they can communicate mind to mind, right? So that's, I can read babies for people, so I can tell them, oh, your baby is, allergic to milk, or lactose intolerant, or can't, like that. What happened was citric acid, and then her other child was had stomach problems, and I said he can't handle gluten and wheat, so you just have to remove that from his diet. And I heard, like, in my mind, that he would do well on ancient grains. So your mind is so handy. It can help you figure out so many dilemmas, not just for you, but for other people, and you can share that gift with people. So in my last video, I talked about the release ring that I had, and the charge and release rings that I had. So this is a release ring, and it's actually called a crystalline ring. And you can Google crystalline rings, and this is really cool, because sometimes when people come to my house for a session, I get them to stand in this ring for a minute or two, and it really, if they brought any negative energy with them, or it's been hanging on to them for a while, it will help dissipate that. If my crystals have been overused, I heard an underpaid, that's a joke. Yeah. I put the crystal in here, and then I hear when I need to remove the crystal, and then in order to charge the crystal back up, the energy that it needs to vibrate high, and I put it inside this ring, which is this is a charge ring. So these are amazing. They work on magnetics and some, I heard, I can't even think. I can see the word in my head, but I don't know how to say it. Metallurgical, something like that. Yeah, I'm a scholar. Joking. Metallurgical properties. So those are charge and release rings, and I got them from a friend who's a crystal healer. They were, a couple $100 a piece. But I've used them a lot in my healing sessions and cleansing things. Even use them to cleanse some energy from a pair of my slippers. So those are tools that you can use, and I like to use, those in my healings. I like to use them for releasing energy from crystals. And it's my mind that tells me, because I'm connected to spirit almost always, it's my mind that tells me what to use. I'll hear a voice in my head, because it's like a thought. It's not like a voice. It's a thought. I hear a thought in my head that tells me what to do. For example, today, I was like enjoying my day at home and doing some work, and I heard, oh yeah, you need to go to town and pick up a few things. So I did. And then on my way, I saw some signs on the way, like on my license plates. That's how I like to receive signs from spirit. And spirit even chose the direction I was meant to go. So I had to go to a health food store first, and I went to a drugstore, then I went to a grocery store. In between, I put some fuel in my vehicle. They even told me how much fuel to put in my vehicle. I was like, that's pretty cool. When you're connected to spirit, your guides will always give you answers, and they'll always tell you what to do. And using your mind, you'll know, it'll feel right that, oh, that's something I'm meant to do, and that I'm actually receiving the guidance. So your mind is really powerful. Now on the flip side, your mind is also powerful in a not so good way, because often if you live in fear, negativity, and regret, so you're living on the negative side of life, and you want to be on the positive side of life, you could have negative programming that is detrimental to your development. So it could be, for example, if you have a fear, you're coming from lack, there's never enough, and you're never satisfied with your job, your family, your friends, no one's ever good enough, you don't have enough money, you have too much month at the end of money, at the end of your money. If you are coming from that and you always are fearing that you're never going to have enough money, you are actually creating that through that cyclical thought process. So how do you get out of that? You actually have to turn into the thought process of being grateful. Like it could be just one little thing. So for example, in the morning you could wake up and you could just, you know, lay in your bed and think, how grateful you are. I'm always grateful for how good my bed feels. I really like good bedding, and I like how the sheets feel, and I like my pillows, and I like my duvet, and I love that yeah, when my husband was alive, he was allergic to feathers, so I never got to have like a duvet, but I do love it. And I had clipped out images from magazines and had put them in this little scrapbook that I had, and that was one of the things that I wanted. So a while back I bought the exact kind of duvets that I wanted, and they were on sale when Sears was still in existence, and I thought, oh, what a good deal. Here I have the money to buy these. So I bought one for myself and one for my son, and I really like them because it's a natural form of warmth, and I'm really grateful that I am able to have that, and it just feels good. Like I love it, you know, clear any negative energy. I do put the charge and release, the release ring in my bed sometimes, just to clear any weird negative energy. It could have been from the fowl that was used for those feathers, or it could be like the bedding, whoever created the bedding or whatever. But I do that. Even the people who made my mattress, or the people who made my bed. So I'll put that release ring in when I feel like something's kind of weird and funky and needs to shift. I'll put that in, and then I'll put the charge ring in, so it just clears any negative energy. And it could have been even negative energy that I brought into my bed myself. Maybe I had a weird day, or someone was bugging me, or I didn't know how to handle it, or so anything like that. So those are your nice ways to release energy. That's very physical, right? And I bless the person who created those, because I think they're just so wonderful. So back to your mind. So if you think of how you speak and how you act, and if it's what you want, like they're all in alignment, right? You're being a good human being. However, if, you know, conversely, you're not the person that you want to be, you have to think of, how do you speak? What do you speak about? How do you talk about yourself? How do you talk about others? And what thoughts have you held on to? For example, a lot of people live in the past and talk about how, oh my goodness, you know, it would be so wonderful to be like in high school again. If I did it all over, I would do. And I was like, oh my God, I would never want to go back there, because that is done and over with. We did the best that we could with what we had. So why not embrace where you are right now, and think of, you know, if you suffered hardship in your life and you've come out on top, then you need to, you know, commend yourself for doing such a wonderful job. And then also, you know, on the other side is, if you've had an easy life and then all of a sudden now you're going through some real difficulty and you're not able to achieve what you want, it's a good idea to step back and say, okay, think or meditate, you know, how come I ended up here? What can I do to change it? What actions can I take to break this pattern of behavior that I have? Maybe becoming too complacent. Maybe you're not standing up for yourself when you should. And maybe you need to take a walk on the wild side. That's what I heard in my head. Maybe it would be a good idea for you to do like one different thing a day. For example, you know, if you get up every morning and you do the same old thing, maybe get up 30 minutes earlier and sit in a quiet meditation, or listen to a guided meditation. And some of the meditations I really like are made by Denise Lynn, and I have one of her albums that's 33 meditations or something like that. I just bought it off iTunes for $9.99. And sometimes when I need to change things up, I'll listen to one of her meditations, because it just makes, or a couple of them, because it's only 10 minutes a piece, right? I listened to a couple of them, like you could, you know, connect with your angels or your guides, or there's all different kinds, creating a perfect day. And her voice sounds so wonderful, and if you listen to that, it puts you in a really good mindset. And maybe if you go to work and you are not enjoying your day, and the day is all really wonky, which, by the way, Spirit sends you challenges all the time to see how you'll react. And if you get caught up in the negativity and the lack of flow, or whatever it is, the chaos that's going around you, then you know that you haven't won the battle. Because if you can step outside of that, so all the chaos is going in this little circle, right? And you step outside of that circle and you say, not today, I'm not doing it. I'm going to be Om and Zen. I'm going to enjoy my life. I allow other people their chaos, but I don't get caught up in it. You have won because you made sure that you didn't get sucked into that chaos or battle or whatever. And it happens in the workplace all the time. So if you make sure that you stay out of that and you become an observer, so you're over here, right, outside of that, and everybody else is in the chaos, you step outside of that chaos and you say, okay, what is this teaching me? How can I help these people who want to help, Like, not everybody wants help. Sometimes people like that chaos and they want to stay in there. But there are things you can do for yourself to make your life better. And so you have to just stop and reflect, what is this all about and what is this teaching me and how can I evolve or emerge from this and be the better person for it. I often look at that with struggles that I go through, and I used to think, oh, here we go again. But then I was like, oh, wait a minute. If this already happened to me, right, using my mind, if this already happened to me, and I'm still doing the same thing over and over, and nothing is ever changing, then I'm the goofball who hasn't made the realization that I actually have to change my behavior so that I'm not going to be doing the same thing and expecting results. Like they say, that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So one great example I use is, I started working out at the gym last year and I was working out really hard. And I was like, I'm not dropping any weight. And I was heavier than I wanted to be. I had a really strong body and everything, but weird things were happening. Like I thought I'd try some protein powder, but it was whey protein, and I got really bulky. I started looking like a man, and I was like, okay, I don't want to be like this. So I had in my mind, this is how powerful your mind is. I had in my mind the idea that I wanted to have a lean body, like kind of like a runner's body, but I wanted some muscle definition. So I was like, okay, this whey protein is no good, and I don't even really like milk products anyway, so why am I taking that? But so I changed and I started following a vegan bodybuilder on Instagram, and she had some great ideas. She did a live on Facebook and she talked about how to lean out your body. So it's called a shred, and so what they do is they cut out certain things, like she said, cut out fat out of your diet and go to cruciferous vegetables and vegan protein. And oh my goodness, when I did that, the weight dropped off like that. And so I had to reprogram how I thought, because the old idea, well, you gotta have meat for protein, and I don't even like it anyway. So then I wasn't really building muscle anyways, because I didn't like animal protein. So I had to reprogram my mind about protein and how you can get it from different sources, and then you can research and see what product has the highest amount of protein. But then you actually have to know if your body can make use of that protein. So I teach people full body muscle testing to see, I get them to ask their body, is it in my best interest to, eat what's in this whatever? So it could be even your bowl of food or whatever. I even ask, what percentage of protein that I need is in this bowl? And sometimes I'll hear, or I'll ask at the end of the day, what percentage of protein did I take in today? And I usually hear it's like 90%, so I'm still at like a 10%. I need a 10% increase in my protein. So I started doing that because I know that when you are connected to source and you're connected to the collective consciousness, your mind will give you every answer that you absolutely want and need. So you can ask, and I said this in one of my videos, I regularly ask, what percentage of my body has cancer cells? And I hear now it's like between 0 and 1%. So I did something recently, 5 days ago. I heard in my mind from my guides that I was to eliminate all animal products out of my diet. And I was like, oh dang, I really love butter in my coffee, and I had been kind of sloppy. I hadn't been buying grass-fed butter, so I, because it was more expensive than just the regular butter. But my body didn't like the milk solids in the butter, so I cut all animal products out. And they also said cut out all processed sugars. So I was like, oh my God, really? So the first day I felt okay, not that great, and then the second day, I felt like crap. And then the third day I felt really good, and then the fourth day I felt like crap. But what I know about when you detox your body, so I'm just with plant foods, and they allowed me to have coconut sugar the other day, because coconut sugar is lower on the glycemic index than regular sugars. And so I thought, well, I want to do this because my guides are telling me to do this, so it must be important. They said that when I do that, I'll be detoxing people and the energy from the animals that were not treated humanely, because when we take in that food product, we actually are taking in how the animal felt and how it was treated during its life, and even up to like slaughtering or how they milk it or whatever. Like, you take all that in because you're taking in the energy from their body and you're putting it in your body. So it can cause a lot of, I heard, emotional upsets and defects throughout your life. And I heard that before. And that's why, like, if my guides are telling me to do something, I generally do listen, and they said I'm doing a pretty good job, because I want my health to be better. But I do want more clarity when I connect with spirit, because then I can serve my clients better. I can be the best I can be when I listen to my guides. And if they tell me to do this, then it's important. So they told me to do this for the next 14 days. So today is day 5. And I feel pretty good, and I noticed that my skin is looking better, but I don't really, like, sometimes I don't really look like myself. It's kind of weird. But I am going through this process where I'm leaving the past behind. So my son is really cool, and sometimes I'll get him. He's had Reiki attunements from me to help him remove some of the energies from his body that he's carried throughout the centuries. I heard, so old soul, right? So I'll get him to hold my hand. Like, I'll say, oh, I put my hand out like this, and I get him to hold my hand, and I say to him, tell me why I feel so weird right now. And he'll tell me right away. He gets the message, or the message comes from his higher self, because he's actually quite evolved spiritually, but his physical body and his mind is busy playing catch up. So he says, oh, you're just getting rid of the past and old energy, old stuff. So I'm always grateful, because he's, in a way, he's kind of like my sage and my guru, because things come to him really fast. It hasn't always been easy for him, because he has this old-ish mindset and stuck in a young body, so it doesn't always, it kind of clashes. They clash, right, with each other. And it's a learning curve for him to learn how to adapt to his abilities, the things that he can do and think and say. It doesn't always come out with such kind words, so we're working on that. So your mind is so powerful. So I want you to understand how you can redirect your mind when things aren't going the way you want to. So for example, if you've had a bad day and you keep saying, oh my God, I've had a bad day. So what are you focusing on? You're focusing on that you had a bad day and it was negative, instead of thinking, I had an interesting day because I had all these challenges that were posed to me, and I handled them in a different way, or I handled them in the same way I usually do and got the same results, which was not what you wanted to do. So sometimes you have to, or a lot of the time you have to look at, I usually handle it like this, but today I'm going to try something different, and I'm going to handle it in a different way, or I'm going to ask myself, why is this happening to me, and what can I do to handle it in a positive way, so that I'm creating a positive ripple effect. So if you have a friend who seems to be going through the same challenges over and over, you say, oh, I notice that you always seem to attract these certain kinds of people. So last night on my Facebook, I did a Facebook Live, and that was weird, just because we had all kinds of energetic glitches during it. People were getting cut off on the internet and whatever. But that had happened before with my lives, and I quit doing them for a while because I found that I wasn't having the good connection reception that I wanted. So it made me realize that a simple fix is to change my provider. So then today I found exactly what I wanted, which I'll be switching over, and that will fix that glitch. And so then you think of, if the same thing keeps happening over and over, and you keep doing or accepting the same results, there's something that you need to change. But you do need to think about it. You need to think, if I do this, this will happen, or this will happen, or this will happen, and then you choose the best route for you. I have an itchy nose. Okay, so itchy nose is really interesting, because I went to the dentist, last year, and I had some major dental work to get done. and I just went there for them to check out and see what they could do for me. And when I was in there, my nose kept, like, someone kept scratching my nose, and my nose was frozen, like I was frozen up here, right? And I was like, okay, this is really weird because I have an itchy nose. And I said to the people who were working on my face, I said, oh, that itchy nose guy must be here. So what happened in there is one of the assistants said, everybody says their nose is itching here. It's like, ding, 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 ding. My mind says, well, obviously somebody wants to talk to someone. So it ended up that one of the assistant's dads had passed, and he just wanted to talk to her. So he was waiting for someone like me to come in for a person to realize that this is a sign that someone wants to talk, like what I'm getting right now, because, oh my goodness, it's like someone is scratching my head. I heard it's one of my, a spiritual ancestral lineage who wants to talk to you. So I read that book called Autobiography of a Yogi, and I found that I am channeling, and I'm sure I say it wrong, Lahiri Mahasaya, and he is one of my ascended masters that they usually are around me. He's just with me now, and I've seen him on 2 occasions in my yard. One was yesterday when I was in my camper running my furnace, and then the day before, a couple of days before, I was cleaning out my horse trough for the winter, that I use for the winter, and I saw him standing beside me, and he was in a white outfit. So he was just saying that he wants to talk to you, and he's saying that this planet is going on a I don't even know what word I'm supposed to use, a massive mental, emotional, and spiritual growth right now. So if you're feeling very uncomfortable with your lifestyle or your job, he's saying that there are monumental changes that are coming to you that are going to force you to behave differently. And he wants you to know that it's going to be okay as long as you listen to the voices. So how can you listen to the voices? You can spend some time in meditation. He said morning and evening is best. So just choose a time or do them both. And so he said you can download the messages, you can write them in notes, you can share them with your friends, and sometimes if you feel you have a message to give to your friends, he's asking you to do that because you'll hear an urge. Tell them, because I'll often hear that, tell them, and I'm like, really? So I tell people, I start out with, this might sound a little strange, but, somebody wants to talk to you, or I'm getting this message for you, and I've come out of my comfort zone because if I can do it, why not? If I can help someone have a better life, why not? If I can give them a message for someone who's crossed over, then why not? So he's just saying he's saying to make amends with your past. So I'm channeling this, right? It's in my mind. I can hear the thought. And his thoughts are not really strong. They're very kind, soft, and gentle. He's like, much like a Reiki master. A yogi is like a Reiki master because a true Reiki master never ever forces anything on anyone and allows everybody to learn in a certain way with certain disciplines, because when you learn Reiki, you learn, the traditional hand placements, and then level 1, and then level 2, you learn the energy has no boundaries because you learn distance work, and then when you do the Reiki master, you learn you're basically channeling. You realize you're channeling, and you can channel all kinds of things. So he wants you to know that absolutely everyone, he said almost everyone, has the ability to channel if they want it, and you just have to do the work to get there. And the easiest and best way to get to there is by meditating and quieting your mind down, right? Conscious mind comes down about the rate of the subconscious, and then you slow down that mind chatter, you slow down your brain, and you become like in receptive mode. How you become like a funnel is just like this. And in Reiki, we have this thing called the Reiki shower. So you just hold your hands up like this, and then it's like, you feel all that wonderful Reiki coming down into your body, and it comes in, comes down into the heart space. And my energy work now is very different than it has been forever, for a long time. It's so much more powerful with the use of, the tools that I use, the laser that I have, the crystals that I use, and of course, the mind-body-spirit connection. And I primarily work in my heart space. It's always like right here. And they have been tremendous sessions. I'm just so grateful that I'm able to do that and to share that gift with my clients and my family as well, whoever wants those sessions. So that's it for the mind. The next video I'll be making will be on the body, and we'll be talking about some physical aspects on how you can tweak the body that you have for a better lifestyle and create a better condition for your body by being more in tune with what you feed it, feeding it for fuel instead of comfort. So, and where does that comfort come from when we want to feed our body? Thank you for watching.